right, so let's go ahead and get started downloading an environment that we can use to program and build games and all kinds of other cool stuff with. So here on the Visual Studio's download page, where we can download both Visual Studio Code and Visual Studio 2019 Community Edition. We're not going to want to download the Professional Enterprise unless we're willing to pay money. Now, these are both powerful tools. Don't worry about it. You're going to get lots of cool stuff with either one of them. And I'm not recommending that you download both of these, but I want to show you how just in case you decide to. Also, these links for everything that I'm showing you here will be in the description or will be in the course resources folder. So let's go ahead and get into this. First, we're going to walk through setting up Visual Studios 2019. And you're probably wondering, well, why are we going to download both of them? Well, that's a good question, because Visual Studios 2019 comes with something really special that's called a .NET Core SDK. Now, this SDK is a library with all kinds of stuff that we need to code C# and Unity. And it comes preformed with this. Now, Visual Studios, it doesn't. So we have to download it separately if we were just wanting to download this by itself and not download Visual Studio's code. Now, the downfall of having both of these is that when you click Unity, Unity is going to go with Visual Studio's community and it's going to open it up first unless you assign it and tell it to be opened up by Visual Studio's code. But that's really super simple, and I'll show you how to do that later. So it doesn't matter if you have both of these. Now, remember though, Visual Studios is specific for one job. So if you're going to download Visual Studios, you only need it for building Unity games or whatever it is you want to do on it. Where Visual Studio Code, well, we can do whatever we want. And when you get into Unity game building, you're going to find out that you're going to be able to take Unity games, put them on the web, put them on mobile devices, and all over places on all kinds of different devices. And this is why we want to use Visual Studio Code. So let's go ahead and get started. Just like anything else, press this download button. A file is going to pop up. You're going to want to save it in whatever folder you download stuff in. I saved mine in the downloads folder, and you can see here that I've already got it downloaded. So I'm going to go ahead and right click on it. All right, so this is going to set up, and this is going to take a minute. So depending on how long this next phase takes for you, you might want to pause the video here. It's going to be very quick for me because I've already installed it and done this to record this video. So let's go ahead and go through this, and I'll show you. Now, you had to pause, and now you're done and you're here. Welcome back. And what I want to show you is the different environments. See, all of these are specific to a different job, like building apps, building desktop apps, building web environments, building stuff for Python or databases and video games and data science, all kinds of other stuff. So why am I telling you this? Because look down here at the space required. You thought all this stuff was cool and you're like, yeah, I want to do a little bit of this all later. I'll learn it all. Well, look how much space starts getting taken up by clicking on that. That's how much space right now you need on your hard drive to install all this stuff. It takes up a lot of resources because there's a lot of code, a lot of programming, a lot of packages and SDKs included with these specific environments for these specific jobs and tasks. Take up a lot of room. And that's why we don't want to click all these. We only want one specific, and that's for this, the game development with Unity. Now the second one over here, that's for Unreal Engine, where it says Unreal and all these other things. So if you're using Unreal Engine as your gaming engine, then you would click this one. So that's what I wanted to show you. Then all you got to do is simply install that and set it up. Now you can go ahead if you want to and click on both of these just in case you think you're going to use Unreal Engine. You're going to need almost 7 gigabytes of space there, but just go ahead and install it, set it up, and you'll be good to go. Now, after you set this up and install it, you really don't need to set up Visual Studio Code, but we're going to be using Visual Studio Code in this lesson, and it would be more beneficial for you to use it. Now, they're pretty much the same. They got the same look, the same feel, except, Visual Studio Code does got a little bit of different feel, and you can add all those crazy cool plugins that I'm going to show you here in a minute, where you can't really do that in Visual Studio Community Edition. So let's go ahead and get out of that. Whether you installed it or not, let's go ahead and move on to installing Visual Studio Code. So Visual Studio Code, our code editor. All you're going to want to do is pick your package out here and download it. Pretty simple. And after you download it, well, it's going to pop up, and we'll go through that here in just a minute. So install that, and you're done. Just pick your operating system and install it. Now, I want to show you something before we do that, because you need something. Guess what it was? Well, yes, that .NET Core. You need that .NET Core. In order to get that .NET Core, you're going to have to either Google .NET Core SDK, or you're going to have to come to this page, which I've also included in the links, in the resources in the description, for Unity VS Code. Now, this explains to you what you need to do, and it says here you need to get this .NET Core SDK. Now, if you've installed Visual Studio Community Edition, you do not need to do this. All you need to do is install VS Code, and you're good to go. But if you did not, and you're only installing this, you need to do this. And you simply click here, go to this .NET Core, and download it. You can download either one of these right here, and you'll be fine. Do not download this .NET Framework 4.8. This is not what we need. We need the core, not the framework. Some people are, looking at this number here and think it's a bigger version that's better. It's not. You need this core, not the framework. And you can do it for any machine. So Linux, Mac, so whatever your operating system is, you can download it for. That's it. Install this, install VS Code, and boom, you're done. Reset your computer if you're on Windows, and you might want to read this if you have a Mac and you start seeing problems. There's a couple pages to help you out. Now, all we got to do is set up our C# extension and some Unity plugins so we can actually start getting to building games. Now, later on, I'm going to come back to this page. I'm going to show you how to set up VS Code for Unity, so that way whenever you click on a script inside of Unity, VS Code opens up. So let's go ahead and go over there. Now, we can do that with VS Code and Visual Studios. By the way, I just wanted to mention you could, set it to open up Visual Studios Community Edition if you did not download VS Code. So it's really your preference. But here is VS Code. Welcome to VS Code. Now, I'll show you the little bar right here, and we'll walk through that real quick. Now, right here, you got your File Explorer. Basically, you're opening a folder, and with whatever's in that folder, files, pictures, assets, you can work on all of them right here and write code to interact with those same files in that directory. So you can create directories and work with directories all in one place. So you're not just working on one file at a time. You can work on multiple files, multiple scripts, multiple assets all at once. Pretty cool, huh? So other than that, you got a search directory where you can search for anything, and it will search through all your files, all the names on your files, all the extensions on your files, every little detail of data in all of your files that you have open, it'll search through. So other than that, we got some GitHub stuff, what we'll talk about later. We can do some debugging, which I'll talk about that with you later. But here's what we need right here, extensions. Now we got to install that C# extension. Type in C, hashtag, which is above number 3 with shift 3, and there you go. C# for Visual Studios. Now you'll see a little green button there, click it. Now you can go through here and install whatever you want. Just read these. They got different stuff involved with them. So it's pretty cool. Like this one takes C# to where you can embed it in HTML. It's really cool. It might look complex at first because you've never really seen this stuff. So if you're not sure, don't mess with it. This one right here, C# snippets, really cool because when you start typing out code, then it looks at what you've got and it sees what it can add to it to build your program faster. So it all helps you out. These are all little tools that people just like me and you have written and added to the community. It's a big community-based tool that's really cool, really open source, and it's totally free. It's pretty awesome, and that's why I prefer it. So that's all you need to do as far as that's concerned and your requirements. But I want to show you. Let's go over here and type in Unity, and we're going to want to install this debugger for Unity. You'll install that. You see I've already got it installed, and then Unity tools you can install, and Unity code snippets. Those are the only things I've installed and the only things I plan on installing. There's a couple other things maybe later, like this game dev bundle. I'll go ahead and install it so I can show you what it's like later. But this stuff all helps you with code. Keep in mind, this is all based around code. So just remember that. And that's it. You've got an IDE, you got your code editor installed. Now you're ready to start programming, ready to start coding. So in the next video, guess what? We're going to start breaking down coding languages and start doing some work in our code editor.